Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly Guitar Show. So instead of a guitar today, we have something a little cuter. The indie girls on YouTube love them. It's a ukulele. Came in this little box. I'm like 5'6" and it comes up to about my waist. So you've seen our bigger guitar companies such as Gibson with their littler models and their familiar shapes such as the Hummingbird and the Les Paul. Talk about all these. Do I see Fender? What does Fender have among the world of ukuleles? The Telecaster, the Stratocaster, or even the Jazzmaster. We have a really fun one here. I think it's the funnest one in this collection. And would you believe that? Another box. All of the ukuleles I've ever unpackaged have come in triangular boxes, so I'm not alarmed. Folding this out here, it seems to be a concert-sized ukulele. Not small enough to be a soprano, not big enough to be a tenor. It's nicely packaged, little rubber band, and it says, yes. Aww. So the fun color we got is called Tide Pool. In the familiar Jazzmaster shape. Very cute, very colorful, very shiny. And there we have it with its shiny blue finish. White chocolate accent and the binding, it sticks out from the blue. I'm familiar with playing heavier ukes like baritones and tenors, so I tend to play heavier ones closer to guitar size and weight. Oh no! Cancer and reproductive harm. I love it.
Well, wasn't that fun? Yeah, that was my sister. I thought I'd let her unbox this since she does a little bit more with ukuleles than I do. But let's go ahead and take a look at this thing on the workbench. So spec-wise here, we've got a spruce top with mahogany back and sides. At least that's what the website says. You can definitely tell that's mahogany there. But in my opinion, it looks like they used something slightly different for the sides. But if you get it in the light just right, you can see that spruce wood grain on here. But anyways, this is part of that new Fullerton ukulele series. They've got the Jazzmaster, which is ultimately the coolest out of all of them because it's got the matching headstock. And let's just face it, the Jazzmaster shape, it works for the ukulele body. It doesn't look awkward, but maybe that's just because I'm more familiar with like a Telecaster and a Stratocaster and it just looks strange with those wide bodies. Maybe it's how this pickguard looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing as well on these. But these are basically ukuleles designed for guitar lovers and enthusiasts because they've made this as simple as possible. So normally on a ukulele, you have to tie the strings on, like this. So with these, all you have to do, I'm not sure how ukulele strings come out of the package, but these guys just have a small ball that's tied, and you just quite simply slide them in like that. So it's kind of like stringing up an electric guitar. But this bridge is made of walnut, and these little ukuleles are crafted in China, and they retail at $199. So besides constructional differences, what makes it, so much better than a $20 Glare ukulele? I mean, it comes down to some of the aesthetics. I mean, this one, it's a satin finish. It's probably just made of complete basswood. I mean, they're good enough. I mean, it sounds okay. But you're also going to notice that these things are actually different types of ukuleles. These Fender ones are concert sized. But this body has this cool tide pool finish. I've got to say, the finish work is rather poor on these. Do you see that spot right there where it just kind of looks scuffed or white? It looks like a finishing anomaly, and you can see it in quite a few locations. Like there's another one down there. There's another one right there in the cutaway. And they did a pretty poor job scraping off the binding. There's many areas where you can see some black smudging. Places where they didn't fully get the finish off. So that was a little bit disappointing to say the least. I mean, $200 to me, that seems like a pretty decent ukulele. I think the worst offender is actually right there. That's not just dust or anything. That's actually a paint buildup area that could chip. And you can see a few of them. But besides that, I mean, a completely bound little ukulele, that's pretty nice. You've got the binding on the top and back. It does have a Fender preamp system right there, which also includes a tuner. And you plug it in at the bottom down here. Moving on to the neck, this is a completely flat radius. That's something that's different from the guitar world. It'll take a little bit to get used to. But that is not a rosewood fretboard. It's actually a walnut fretboard, believe it or not. And we've got 19 frets on here. The spec sheet calls it a 15.04 inch scale length. And we have a 1.4 inch nut width, which increases to 1.82 by the 12th, with a first fret neck depth of 0.71, and at the 9th fret, 0.84. It just becomes heel at the 12th, so that wouldn't be a very good measurement to take. I'm far from an expert when it comes to ukes, but something I noticed were the strings. They call them Nylagut strings, something like that. The one thing I always saw people complain about on those Hummingbird models and the Les Pauls is that they came with those black strings, which were garbage. I mean, these actually feel pretty good to me. They sound pretty good, and that's straight out of the box. So I was kind of pleased with that. But here's the freakiest thing. Okay, Fenders. They're known for very little headstock pitch, right? And they use string trees. Dun dun dun! That is so off-putting coming from Fender Guitar World. But I kind of like it at the same time. But only the Jazzmasters get the matching headstocks. And the other color you can choose is Olympic White on these ones. And just get the Fender Wispy Wind Jazzmaster logo there. Moving on to the back, nothing too crazily fancy back here, but you do get a little binding cap at the back of the heel. That's kind of a nice little touch, but it is crafted with a scarf joint, so it's two pieces of maple kind of bound together, and it's very, very low-grade maple. You can see a few lone bird's eyes on this one. Not my favorite looking neck in the world, but hey, a neck on a ukulele is a neck, and you get those cool little vintage style tuners. So as far as build quality goes, I think it's a solid instrument. It feels pretty good, but the cosmetics, they could have done a little bit better of a job when it comes to the binding and things like that. But this one weighs 1 pound, 11.1 ounces. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how it sounds. So what are my opinions on this as a guitar player? I think it's pretty cool. I mean, if you want to pick up ukulele, it's not that hard. Just learn a couple of chords and everybody thinks you can actually play, right? I mean, there were a few finish flaws on this, but I didn't think it was anything that really stood out and was like, I probably shouldn't have bought this. Because I thought it played and sounded pretty good. The fact that you can plug it in and you have the built-in tuner. It's a comfortable little instrument. I mean, $200, it's a little expensive. But if you're used to buying real Jazzmasters, that just seems really inexpensive. So it looks pretty cool hanging up on your wall somewhere. Buy one of each if you really want to. This was just a fun video because I wanted to check one of these things out because I thought this body shape worked really well for a ukulele. So thank you, Troglodytes, for tuning in today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.